Okay, here we are, live. Happy Monday. I was going to say happy Friday. I used to meet up on Fridays. Anyhow, goodness, I hope you had a great weekend and that your week has started off well for you. And if for some reason it hasn't, let's just use this as an opportunity to start again. So I know that this morning I didn't wake up with the greatest. I really didn't. I woke up with a lot of anxiety, and I know from experience the best place to take myself, good, bad, or ugly, is into a quiet space for some meditation. So, like every other morning, that's what I did. I didn't let the anxiety or the doubt or just feelings that I was having keep me from what works. So anyhow, it's a rainy day here in South Florida, and let me know where you're from. Gosh, put that in the comments to let me know where you're from, and just put a little note in there. Maybe you want to tell me what the weather's like for you. So some of those things that we can go back to and talk about, those constants, sometimes are very grounding, especially when you're not feeling like you're tracking, like you have any sort of direction or that sort of thing. So, and also I just want to remind you that just like our topic, intuitive painting, that's how life is. We can learn to live more intuitively, more creatively. And that's the whole idea, is that as we grow and develop these skills that I share little pieces of each week, we learn how to incorporate that into our daily living, and it becomes a design, something that we can go to, and we can we can count on. So hey Danny, it's good to see you. And my picture's distorted, and I'll tell you why. I've got to get a new camera because I move around a lot and my camera doesn't always focus in on me. So that's what the scoop is on that. So yeah, I know it's been a little even more so lately, because I've just been really in this space of creating. See, there it goes again. As soon as I move my arm. So anyway, I guess it's time to upgrade a little bit, and we'll see. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your comments. And long as you can hear me and you have a good idea of what's going on, I think we're in good shape. So yeah, our topic today is the why of intuitive painting. And I wanted to do this, have this little talk with you, because I've been showing a lot in the group, like demonstrating and really engaging with some, just my process, just sharing with you my process. And what I'm sharing when I show you those little demos are just letting it flow. And a lot of times, well, most of the time I show them in the fast speed, because maybe you don't want to be sitting there for 25 minutes watching my process. So it does look very quick, and part of that is true, because when I'm in the flow, I'm really not thinking about anything. And I think that's one of the benefits I find in just painting intuitively. And there's a lot of names for it. I have a process. My course is called Creativity Reconnects Me, and it's a painting experience. It's responsive painting, and basically my heart is just to help you connect with your creativity, and then let that creativity open up and connect with your inner self for your own relationships. So I feel like creativity connects me to my creator. I believe my creativity is my creator. And so because I'm a creative and I'm made in the creative, it's all it's just beautiful. So this whole, I don't know, my motive, my motivation, my drive, my enthusiasm, my zeal is all to have a better relationship with my creator, because as I press in and make myself just vulnerable to that, what I find is that more of me is revealed to me, and that relationship is just such a reciprocal thing. So anyhow, so this is behind the scenes. It's Monday afternoon, and I'm excited. I really am. So what I will tell you is that the intuitive painting, it begins with you committing time for yourself. Okay. Time for yourself and accepting a few simple things in faith. One of the things I ask you to accept is the fact that creativity connects you to your creator. All right. Now, I don't know who you pray to and who you feel most comfortable and what that name is. I know God as that universal name for all those names, no matter what you call that. Maybe God is your healer. Maybe God is your friend. Maybe God is whatever you want it to call that spirit, that connection. That's your intimacy. That's your own personal relationship. And I didn't know that for a long time. I thought God was just this big one kind of figure, but God is everything. And when I believe that, then God can be present in all times in everything that I'm going through. So in each and every painting stroke, each and every movement or unction that I have that goes onto that canvas. So that's my heart. That's my belief. And again, that's my belief after a long period of time. So maybe you're just beginning this process. And one of the simple things that you can believe in faith is that if you begin, you're going to have a new experience. Okay. So that can be as simple as that. Okay. And let's see, it begins with, and the goal here is to be in the journey itself. All right. So let creativity have its way with you. That's the goal. Okay, so we're going to take a few simple things in faith, and we're going to focus on the journey, not the outcome. All right, when we focus on the outcome, we get stuck because there comes a time when we've come to the end of ourself, and then we don't know anything more. And our first inclination is to go learn how to do something. Okay, a technique, which is important, don't get me wrong. But technique is only a third of your process. All right. Technique is little because you don't even know what you need to know yet because you haven't even begun the piece. All right. So technique isn't the first and the most important thing, but I'm going to share with you those things. So let me tell you, first of all, I've got a couple little notes here. I just want to kind of check in with myself because I want this time to be as purpose to help you get something quick that you can implement right away. And that's the idea, is that each day we want to be encouraged in a way that's going to keep us moving forward, that's going to keep us in the journey. Okay. So let me tell you, first of all, what intuitive painting is and what it isn't. Okay. First of all, I'm going to say that nothing I say from here on is all the only truth. Okay. It's only what's coming to mind at the moment. There is so much to say. Okay. Because when you start living this process, you start taking on your own personal experience. So what it is to me and what it is to you could be totally different. Okay. I'm sorry I'm moving so much, but anyhow, I'm going to stop moving as much as possible so that the camera doesn't keep going in and out, but I want it to be as focused as possible. So anyhow, okay, so let me go back to my notes a little bit here. What it is not. These are some things that I just jotted down a few things this morning. What it is not, it's not a paint by number. Okay, I'm not going to tell you to pick up red, make a red circle, blah, blah, blah. Now, okay, strategically planned and exact. No, it's not. Okay, because see, I can draw something, a sketch, and then decide to go paint it and something different can happen. Okay, so it's unpredictable. It is not meaning, it is not, how do I want to say this? Just an elementary kind of beginner kindergarten kind of thing. So many times I have women say, is all you're going to do is doodle? Is that what this is all about? Well, doodling is a very important tool for me because it brings together three elements that I find are really necessary that you practice together to get the most oomph, okay, to get the strongest connection, okay. So it's like the and I'll just tell you what they are. They're mindset, skill set, and tool set. And I'm going to talk about those at the end. Okay. I want to wrap this up with those 3 points because when we practice each of those 3, it strengthens our experience and it makes our journey more sustainable. Where if we only practice one, Like we can't just decide we're going to start doodling. Okay. We can decide that. But if you aren't committed to your decision, nothing happens. How many times have you said, oh, I'm going to start doing this? Oh, I'm going to start doing that. And the thing is we can make those decisions, but it's committing to the decision. And to be able to commit to a decision, we need the two other parts. We need the skills and we need the tools. When we practice the mindset, the skills, and the tools, then we're good to go. All right. So it's just like when I decide I'm going to work out. The hardest part is getting to the car, right? All right. To go to the gym, because ultimately, if I'm at the gym, I'm not going to stand in the middle of the gym floor and do nothing, right? So the gym is is really not the outcome, but it's where I need to get to be in the journey. But it starts with a decision to go work out. So then I get in the car. The car is the vehicle. That's the tool that's going to get me to the gym where I use the skill set. So guess what? I made a decision. That's the mindset. I used a tool, that's the car, to get to the gym where I can use my skill set. And that's the actual step-by-step that I'm going to take for my workout. That will give me a full transformation. So that's why doodling is so important. So doodling, decision to doodle. All right. Then the tool is the paper and the pencil. I get that. I put my hand on the paper and the pencil, and then I begin. Okay. Now, the skill set is, there's a lot of components to all of those things. Now, just like there's a lot of different variables for anything, but you see by incorporating all three pieces of that, okay, deciding that you're going to doodle or be more creative is not going to create a project for you. So you make a decision, then you need the tools, whatever tools those that are needed for that, and then you begin. All right. And then you have skill sets. So you have maybe a few steps to get you started. But just like when I go to the gym, there's no when I leave, there's no outcome. I mean, I could take my blood pressure, my temperature, a couple of things like that. But see, it's all of those steps that I take to go work out. They're all done with the end result is where I'm having to have faith that over time, something is going to happen. Okay. Now, when I first began working out, I've worked out my whole life, but I remember going back to work out after I had our daughter. And the gal says to me, she says, we're just going to keep doing this. And one day you're going to see the results of the response of your muscles. In other words, she was telling me, in faith, we're going to take these actions repetitively. And one day, everyone's different, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, we'll begin to see that muscle responding. And that might look like definition. That might look like whatever. Most of the time it's definition, right? Okay, that's what we all want to see. So again, we have to keep showing up and practicing daily, or whatever schedule you have. Commit to something consistently to get the response that you're looking for. So I use doodling a lot for that, and because it engages all of those things. Now, there are a lot of other ways to do that. So anyhow, I'll just continue, okay? Because I want you to know that doodling or intuitive painting is not a waste of time. It's not just another painting. It's not copycat art, and it's not focused on the outcome. All right? So let me talk to you a little bit more about my favorite topic, what it is. Now, again, I think I know what it is. Now, this is just what I know about it this morning. If you talk to me later on, or perhaps even ask your questions, you're gonna, basically trigger me to give you more information, which I love to do. I don't know what all to share because I don't know what you need to know. I don't know what it is that may inspire you, but I do know that the intuitive painting, it comes from within. Okay. It might be influenced with things that are like outside of me, but it happens when I connect with my inside. Something is released then. All right. So it's about connecting, taking my creative connection. All right. Ways that I connect creatively, and then letting that connect me to my insides. And then I go in, and then there's a response. All right. It's inevitable. When I pay attention to what's going on inside of me, I have more awareness, right? There's a response. And so that begins this process, this conversation, if you will, where the focus is on the journey. It's on the experience. It's a friendship. It's a relationship. So that canvas, you have relationship with it. If you've watched me paint live before, or in some of my demos, oftentimes you'll see me touch the canvas. All right. I connect with that canvas. I engage. I'm saying, hey, I'm here. I'm connecting. I'm showing up. Oftentimes I'll prime a canvas. And as I'm priming, that's where that initial connection comes from. It's on an energetic level. It's just an intention, if you will. Just like you have an intention, say, when you are in your yoga practice, where you constantly bring your breath back to that intention. And so that's the same kind of practice. We're connecting with that canvas, that piece of paper, and there's a conversation going on. So this experience will minister to you. It'll help you to express or release or even see things in supernaturally, above what you would see in the normal. All right. You might express a feeling with a particular color or shape. And again, when I'm in this process, I'm not thinking exactly what I'm doing. I'm not consciously making these decisions. The decisions are coming, and they're just, like releasing themselves onto the canvas. So this daily practice, it impacts not only your art, but your life, because then you're going to become more responsive in your daily living. When you have conversations, just like on the canvas, when you start seeing something you don't understand, it's very easy to stop and to get stuck. All right. So there's ways that you can move beyond that. Okay. And I've shared those in the group. And if you have some questions and you want some ideas, I'll be happy to share those with you. However, what we'll do is we'll just keep pressing in, and we will ask. So if you're in a conversation, you come up against something that you don't care for, maybe you're like a little offended or disappointed. Maybe the colors that you're putting on, maybe they start looking muddy and you're disappointed. So you think, oh, I made a mistake. What I would say is just to once again, just ask yourself, what about this feels like a mistake? And you start asking questions to creativity, and you say, what is my creative response to this? Well, if it's looking muddy, then I go back to my skill set, which might be color blending. And what did you know about color blending? And of course, if you've practiced with colors, you're going to have more experience in correcting mistakes with colors. Now, again, I just used the word mistake. I said it because that's what we typically think. It's not really a mistake. It's just part of my process. So again, the inner critic will say, this is a mistake. And down here, this guide, my spirit inside here, is just saying, this is just part of the journey. Just like when I woke up this morning and I was feeling anxious. That's part of my journey. It's not who I am. It's not what I do. It comes. So what do I want to do? Do I want to try and fix myself? Or do I want to ask some questions to the creative, to whatever that creative connection is that you have, and then just ask, what would you have me do with this? Help me to understand, so that once again, I am not in control of that. I'm relinquishing my need to control the outcome. I'm just staying in the process. That's where I have this place of neutrality. And this place of neutrality makes me open and useful to myself and to others. It keeps me open for more understanding, so that I have a different and much better experience. And that's the blessing. Okay. All right. So anyway, okay. So I'm going to a few questions here. Danny says, will this work if I've been painting actual things? It may just be important to you, so you get butterflies. That's good. Okay, so yes, if you have this call to paint certain things, all right, um, go with it. Okay, so go with that. What I would say is that if you're going to, again, if you're going to paint those things, you can stop and you can ask questions along the way. So often, let's just use the example of trees. Okay, uh, I love being out in the garden. I love like trails and things like that. So yes, so that wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden I, went through this phase, which, we go through different phases, things that are calling us. So if I go to a tree and I say, oh my gosh, well, trees in and of themselves are, especially this tree I have in my mind right now as I'm saying it. This tree is very grounding. It's an old tree. Okay. It's got really strong root system. It's up on a hill. Okay. And I begin to imagine this, and it's really like I'm being called to that tree. I want to sit underneath of that tree. It covers me. It's a nice protection. Okay, so then I go in and it's like now, so we're imagining this. And maybe at this point we're doing a little sketching. I don't know. I don't do a lot of sketching when I'm painting. I begin just doing what I call an underpainting. So I might just start, I take like a watered down color and I begin, painting, because see, you're painting over layers. All right. I used to think that when we would paint, we would just go up and like you draw all the shapes, you paint the trunk brown, you paint the leaves green, you paint the bird blue, the hill, everything's green. And then you have this flat one-dimensional kind of painting, which is great. That's where that's where we begin. I mean, I have to say that I don't think I've ever painted that way that I remember. I'm not saying I haven't, but I don't remember painting that way. Now I do remember thinking that's the way you're supposed to paint, because see, I have sometimes this critical conversation that everything's got to be perfect. It's got to be in the lines. It's got to be realistic. And while there are different kinds of painting styles, mine is not at this point realistic. All right. Mine is pretty abstract. And so for me, the tree does not have to have a brown trunk and green leaves. Okay. If your tree is like all of a sudden you're calling that tree to be multicolored. Okay. Then I would say go with that. Now, again, because who knows where it's going to end up? It's just at this moment, that's what color it is. So I think, yes, we can paint actual things. And those can be, that can be intuitive. And we can also use, maybe the intuitive part is that you just like coming to the awareness that that's what you're supposed to be painting. Okay. And then where you go with that, maybe that's when the other parts of this come in. Maybe you're developing a skill set. Maybe it's going to cause you to have to go and blend a little bit differently than you have before. Maybe you're going to call back a familiar experience and say, oh, wow, this is coming back. Sometimes we go through and we have like a series of paintings that are all kind of connected in some fashion. All right. Maybe they're quite a bit alike. Maybe they have just certain components of it that are alike. Maybe it's the composition that's the same. Maybe it's the color palette that's the same. Maybe that there are, say, birds in all of them. So there are no rules to this. I just believe that we begin. I know for me, years ago, and I was painting live, and I remember like it was such a beautiful season. As I look back at it now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that. I can't wait to have that happen again. But at the time, well, let me just share with you. I painted live, and I was actually surprised at what came up, because again, I had no idea. And I think that's the blessing is I will go to the canvas and I'll say, I'm just so curious to see what you have for me. So have your way, let creativity have its way. And so I ended up painting a window. And so, and it was a beautiful experience. And then, so I was painting live regularly for a while. And every time I would paint, it seemed like there was like a door or a window. And I remember like it had happened like 3 or 4 times, and they were all a little bit different. And I got something totally different from each one, like the way it was ministering to me and touching others, actually. And I remember being at this, I went to be a visitor as I was painting live at another church. And I was connecting with the canvas, and I was just asking for, direction, like, what do you want to say? What do you want to do? What colors? Like, I don't go up there and usually know what colors I'm going to use. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll be out shopping and I will just be led to get a specific color. But I'm really good at color blending, so I usually don't like buy special colors. So anyhow, I remember just like getting connected, and it was like that feeling was coming over me, like that movement, like this archway, and I knew it was another window, and I was like, oh my gosh. And this is what I said to this is my response to this, like, to this feeling I was having, like, paint an arch. But my response was, people are going to think that's all I know how to paint. So what is that? Boy, that's very, egotistical, right? That's self coming in, that's pride coming over and saying, oh my gosh, what are people going to think about me, right? Well, it doesn't matter what people think about me. It's not about me. It's about the experience. So anyway, that's what I did. I literally said in the spirit, I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to think that's all I paint. Like, for some reason, I thought they're not going to want to see this. This isn't going to mean too much to them. And what I felt overcome me was, is that okay with you? Like, this overwhelming sense was like my creator was saying, is that okay with you if we paint another door? Because I want to paint another door. Is that okay? It might be a window. It might be a door. Is that all right with you, Sarah? And I was immediately, I was like, oh my gosh, like I was right sized. And I began painting. It was the most beautiful experience, really. And so, in fact, I was looking at that painting this morning, and I was reading my notes because oftentimes, I journal while I'm painting or afterwards. So anyhow, I just say that I know that's a long answer to your question, Danny, but I just think whatever it is you're painting is good, and it has purpose. I don't know what that purpose is, but you can ask. And you can find out, and maybe you'll get the answer right away, and maybe you won't. We'll see, and that's the thing, is we just stay in the journey. All right. We keep practicing it. It's going to reveal your inner world to you. Maybe there's something about you. Sometimes when I know that oftentimes I do a lot of meditation out in my garden. So birds, trees, flowers, different things like that start ministering to me. And so, like, one morning, this red-headed woodpecker just would not leave. It just was there. So I began looking up, what is it? What do we know about red-headed woodpeckers? What's the meaning of them? So I began pressing in that way, and I got a lot of information. So, and again, I didn't necessarily paint the red-headed woodpecker, but maybe other elements of that started coming through in my paintings. Maybe that gave me that next step to go back to the canvas to move on. Because I'll tell you, this is the kind of stuff that keeps us stuck when we come up against things that we're not sure about, when we are afraid to ruin something, when we're afraid to express what we're really feeling. I know one thing. Most of you who've been following me know that I had a permanent makeup practice. And when you do permanent makeup, you have to be very exact, right? It's got to be perfect. And so I was, for a long time, over 25 years, I was doing these little tiny motions, really perfect little things, working in the space of a silver dollar. And when I began to get the unction to paint, I wanted to paint. I just felt the need to paint big, because I went to look at canvases, and this is about tool set. What tools do you use? What is your medium? People ask me, well, what should I do? Well, I would do what's right for you. You have to think about your space. You have to think about a lot of different things. It'll come to you though. It's really easy when you start, again, trying to make a decision. You're going to do it. What can you start right away with a space you have? Okay, make it as simple as possible. But I remember getting this unction to paint. And so I went to the store and I thought, well, let me get a canvas, right? So I'm thinking, well, I don't have that much experience. Let me get a little canvas. So I'm starting to look at little canvases and I'm picking them up. And it's like, they just don't feel right to me. They really don't. And my eye kept going down to the lower level where all the larger pieces were, the larger canvases. And I'm thinking, well, I shouldn't use a large canvas. I mean, I'm new at this. I mean, but I'll tell you, I couldn't buy any of the small canvases. So I thought, just for the heck of it, I picked up the small ones and I felt a no. So I picked up a large one and it felt so good. I was like, oh my goodness, really? You want me to get a big canvas? Okay. I mean, what do I have to lose? We just don't know. And if we are willing to like be taken beyond what we know without the need to figure it out for ourselves, like left to my own devices, I might have left there without buying any canvas at all because it felt too small, but the big one felt like it was too grand. Have you ever felt that way? Maybe about your art, maybe about your creativity, but maybe about you in life. All right. Maybe that keeps you right where you are, blocking you from trying something else. I don't know. So what I will say, let me go back and kind of bring this up to a close because I like to be, I like to give you things, but I don't like to take up a lot of time. So I'm going to come back full circle and say that to get a full transformation with this intuitive process, to experience, the whole thing, to keep going, to keep growing and developing those arts, it starts with a decision. Okay, a decision to have, let's call it a supernatural experience. All right, because it's beyond what you know. All right. Just like that day in the store, buying that large canvas was beyond me. I would have not thought that was the one for me. When I went in there, I had no idea I was going to come out with a 36 by 40 canvas. Yes, I'm talking big for me, for a beginner. And I came out, but when I started just like connecting with that canvas, the way it felt, I felt like my heart and my whole body were opening up. I mean, much later, I realized, wow, what a shift to work from the size of a silver dollar doing the permanent makeup to expanding this whole canvas. That was a canvas too. I always said, I'm just bringing back what God gave you. I'm just enhancing what's faded and what you've lost that your creator gave you. I always kept it in a perspective that way. And again, now this is about me. Am I willing to let God show me what he has inside of me? And if it's going to be on a big canvas, do I want to miss out on that? Am I ready to see what kind of possibilities? So am I ready for something supernatural? And all supernatural means, don't be scared. It's not magic. It's not witchy or anything. It just means above what I'm capable of naturally. Okay. So beyond what I know. Okay. That's a mindset. That's to have that experience. Am I willing to be in a position where, I'm going to go outside of what I know. All right. Now that's very vulnerable. And sometimes it gets very difficult for us to let go. So it might be a process. And that's why like doodling and journaling and art journaling are very good ways to begin stoking that, to connecting with something in maybe an area in a way that's safe for you, that's still like supernatural, but it's a good first step. All right. Um, and then you'll have tool set. And that, like I was talking about, doodling is a tool. All right. It connects you to your creativity. All right. Color is a tool. Maybe you just watercolor. You can watercolor. Anything is like doodling. Doodling is, I know it sounds like a stupid word. I don't even like the word. I wish it actually was called something more sophisticated. I think if it were, people would want to do it, right? But maybe that's just it. Maybe we have to humble ourselves and become childlike so that God can take us somewhere. All right. Maybe we have to be willing to be curious and let our imagination take us. Maybe that is what's, going to be the fast track to connecting with our inner creativity. So those tool sets are doodling. They are anything that you like. Watercolor, I mentioned that because it's not easy to control. I don't have a lot of watercolor experience, but when I have, you let water move the color. Water is the vehicle. You put the color there and then water moves it. So you learn to manipulate that. Certainly you develop the skills, but the premise is that water is the vehicle for those color pigments. Okay. So there's other tool sets as well. There's the list goes on. So I'll drop some in the Facebook group. I'll give you some examples. And again, if you have questions or if you have something special that, look in your arsenal of tools, see what you have. And then you can ask me about, how you can put that together to create, somewhere to start, get yourself on the path. And then that's going to take us to our third point, which is to number 3, stay on the path. And your skill set is going to help you stay on the path. See, learning how to navigate those layers and processes is important. So that's why you need to have different skills, because when something happens, you can employ, okay, is this a mindset, skill set, or tool set issue? And that's how you become discerning. That's how you overcome obstacles and you get free again, so that you can get that openness, so that you're teachable, that you're more childlike. Okay, so let's see. Danny says, I call when the artist is finishing a piece that they fiddle faddle, but doodle works. It's fun sounding. Well, yeah, it is. It keeps it light, right? Because we get so serious, and that perfectionism comes in, and that spirit of control. I'll tell you, one of the best things that I do, especially if I'm painting live, is to break control. Is I will take a water bottle and I will spray the canvas and let the water move some of that paint around, because it breaks that control for me. And then I can move on. One of the skill sets that I use, I do a lot of editing with paper towels. I know that's just a real sophisticated tool. But the fact is you don't have to have a lot of expensive tools to get a wonderful result. All right. So there's different things that you can use to do that. So, once I spray that canvas, then I can go back and reconnect with my hands, okay, and move that color around a little bit, or take a paper towel and do some editing. Or maybe once that canvas is wet, then I can add more paint, do another layer. So there's different ways to do this. But the reason you want to practice daily and have a consistent practice is so that you have that experience. So that as something comes up, you have the experience that intuitively you'll know. Just like when we begin doing anything. When I began, let's say, driving, okay, I knew that there was mindset. I had to be in the right mindset to drive, right? I had to have tool set. I had to have tools, which, car is a good tool. I had to have gas, certain things that had to be in good working order. And then skill set. All right. The skills were knowing the tools were the laws and the different road rules, but skill set is having the experience that as conditions changed, I knew how to respond. That's where your skill set is important. Just like when you're driving and it begins raining. Now, there's a different skill set, other things you can think about to make that experience the best, safest experience for you and those about you, as well as those in your vehicle. So just like painting, as you come around things, you want to, again, address yourself. Where is my What am I lacking? Is it in my mindset? Is it something that I'm thinking about myself? Okay. Is it my judgment about myself for the painting? Is it my judgment about maybe, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was even attempted to paint blah, blah, blah. Okay. Is it my tool set? Okay. Or is it my skill set? What is it? Do I feel is that I'm lacking, that I need more of, or I need a better understanding of? And then, the flip side is this is the way we get to know ourselves and take an honest look so that we know what to work on. So you might ask yourself, which of the three do you feel the strongest? All right, mindset, tool set, or skill set. Sometimes we have to do a lot of work on the mindset. And I would venture to say that that's probably the area that, as I work with coaching clients, that's what we work on a lot of. Because when your mindset is right, the other things fall into place. You'll know what tools, or I'll know which ones to suggest to you. I can recommend different skill sets and different ways of approaching something. But we have to sometimes, that mindset is the key thing. It's the one thing that we can change, and we will have a new experience no matter what, without improving anything else. But oftentimes, to grow and develop, you want to work those three together on a regular basis. So anyhow, I don't know. That's my take. I don't know if that topic name was a good name for my talk, but that was what was on my heart this morning. And I felt like would benefit you the most based on some of the comments that I've been getting in the group and the private messages. I want to thank you for reaching out to me. I love the opportunity to give you some direction, to encourage you. And again, oftentimes when I respond, it will address something, either mindset, tool set, or skill set. And if we start thinking that way, I think you're going to go farther and you're going to stay stuck less. All right. So I think stuck is part of the process. If we never got stuck, we would never really have a desire or need to press in, just like in life. If life were smooth all the time, I wouldn't have the need to go deeper. And when I go deeper, I have a more beautiful relationship with my inner self, with my creator, and that translates into being able to connect with others in a healthy, more meaningful way, and impact, my family, my community, fellowship, just all the different facets of my life. So anyway, intuitive art is great to up-level your art and your life. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in today, spending some time with me. I look forward to hearing some more questions and comments, and you let me know how I can help you out. Okay? We'll see you next week. All righty. Thanks. Bye-bye.